Welcome to Share the Load, the podcast, brought to you by the DPJ Foundation. This is a space for honest conversations, real stories and shared experiences, shining a light on the challenges we face and reminding each other that none of us have to carry the load alone. In each episode, we'll be talking with people from across our community, exploring life, work, mental health and the realities that shape us, the good, the difficult and everything in between. Before we begin, we want to let you know that some episodes may include sensitive topics, including discussions around mental health and suicide. If at any point you find the content upsetting, please take a moment, pause and look after yourself. If you or someone you know needs support, we encourage you to reach out to a trusted person or a professional organisation. You can also call our 24/7 call line on 0800 587 4262 and you can find further information on our website. This is Share the Load.
Croeso i'r Rhannwch y Baich, y podlediad a ddygwyd I chi gan sefydliad DPJ. Mae hwn yn lle ar gyfer sgyrsiau gonest, straeon go iawn, a phrofiadau ar enir, gan daflu goleini ar yr heriau rydym yn ei hwynebu ac atgoffa'n gilydd nad oes rhaid i'r un ohonom gario'r baich ar ei pennu ein hunain. Ym mhob penod, byddwn nhw'n siarad â phobl o bob cornel o'n cymuned, gan archwilio bywyd, gwaith, iechyd meddwl a reality sy'n ei llunio. Y da, yr anodd, a phopeth rhyngddynt. Cyn I ni ddechrau, rydym am roi gwybod I chi y gallai rhai penodau gynnwys pynciau sensitif, gan gynnwys trafodaethau ynghylch iechyd meddwl a hunanladdiad. Os byddwch chi ar unrhyw adeg yn teimlo bod y cynnwys yn ofidus, cymerwch eiliad, oedwch, a gofalwch amdanoch eich hun. Os oes angen cefnogaeth arnoch chi, neu rhywun rydych chi'n ei adnabod, rydym yn eich annog I gysylltu â pherson dibynadwy neu sefydliad proffesiynol. Gallwch hefyd ffonio ein llinell alwadau 24 awr y dydd, 7 diwrnod yr wythnos ar 0800 587 42 62 a dod o hyd I ragor o wybodaeth ar ein gwefan. Dyma Rhannwch y Baich.
We're here for episode 8 of the Share the Load podcast, and this episode Emma and I are joined by 3 women who farm as part of their day job. So we've got Bethany, Nerys and Kerys. So thanks very much for coming on today, taking time out, because I know you've all got things to do and places to be. So we just want to really have a chat about your farming life and some observations. When we've had conversations in the past, we've talked about the industry in general, but also what can make it the best job in the world, but also can make it a challenge as well. So if you could just start by some introductions. Bethany, do you want to go first?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Beth. I'm 33. I'm a beef and sheep farmer in the Vale of Glamorgan. I farm with my dad and my grandfather. Yeah, almost finished lambing. So.
Almost there. How many got left?
About 10. One triplet.
Last drag, so that's
yeah.
it, yeah.
So yeah, I enjoy it. It's good fun.
Good.
Nerys?
I'm Nerys, I'm 28 from Monmouth. Farm at home with my eldest brother and my dad. We got about 800 breeding ewes and about 50 suckler cows. About 35 left to lamb, so we're nearly done. I also do a bit of contract lambing, so I went up to Hereford we only did 3 weeks this time, lamb 1,300 up there. Normally takes us about 6, so they were very quick this year. And then I also work off farm doing cross compliance for broiler farms. So I work for EC Drummond Group at Ross, and they've got about 35 different poultry units growing all the time across England and Wales. So yeah, get off farm and do a bit of that for a bit of sanity as well.
Yeah. What about you, Kerys?
Hiya, I'm Kerys. I'm 28. I work at home with my brother alongside my uncle. We've got 600 South Wales Mountain ewes and 40 sucklers. Halfway through calving, which is proving fun at the minute. Nearly finished lambing. My spotties and my belt decks are all done, and yeah, just embracing calving life now at the minute. So the sleepless nights are still upon us.
And you mentioned earlier about your lovely evening last night being covered in...
Oh yeah, myself and my brother had a backwards calf, and it was a 4-man job really, but he had one arm in, I had one arm in, and we eventually got him out, but we were to say the least, stinking dirty. That's how we finished. But the calf was alive, so as my uncle said, you can get changed now, you can go and have a wash. But the calf was out when the job was done, so but.
So you all mentioned about working on family farms and with kind of, family members and things. So let's get straight into it. Like, what's that like? Because I know that my dad and I have got a very sort of small flock together, and we're either the best of friends or we want to murder each other. And it's very much between that. Like, what's it like for you guys working so closely on the farm?
I'd say exactly the same. Like, me and Dad get on really well most of the time, and like we can have an argument and then not dwell on it. Like, you can't sulk and strop around for the rest of the day because you'd never get anything done. So it's nice that like sometimes he does my head in and then you can just be like, oh, should we go for a cup of tea or something, or go down the pub? I think that's what I enjoy most about working with Dad, is that you can get on, but you also argue, but it's fine as long as you can get over it.
And you mentioned your grandfather's involved as well.
Yes, so Grandpa's 91.
Oh, amazing.
Still thinks he's 30. Honestly, he's insane. And we do rely on him. He goes around and checks all the stock. Like, this time of year is really good. Like, if we want to get on and do some harvest and things like that, he's just plodding around on his Land Rover and checks all the sheep. So that's, can't stop him. Won't stop him.
Yeah, we talked actually in the last podcast about retirement and about how like the concept of retirement is just like
not
non-existent, really,
not
isn't it? So what about yourself then?
I suppose it can be the best thing in the world, but also one of the worst things. Like, it's difficult working with family. Everybody knows that, and having 3 people try and make different decisions and all want to do the same thing but get there a different way, working the way that works best for you all is like it's a hard process sometimes. And if people say they don't argue with their family when they're working, it's a load of rubbish. People are like, oh, we get on really well. Yeah, well,
liars.
It's like, it's mental, but you do it because you love it and you want the farm to succeed and everything like that. And it's what you're grown up with. And like, I don't know, it can be the worst thing, but also the best thing. And it is just finding that happy medium of being able to continue working in the middle of an argument quite often. And because jobs got to be done, and a lot of jobs aren't one-man jobs anymore. If you want to be time effective, you've got to suck it up and get on with it, haven't you?
But you can also go and find another job to go do.
There is that nice thing, or 2 of you go and do one thing and one of you go do something else to like
just cool
let it cool off a bit before you all
or
go
just
back.
Walk opposite ends of the field. That's what me and my dad do. It's like, he goes that direction, not talking to you, off you go. What about yourself though, Kerys? Because it's you and your brother, is it?
Yeah, me and my brother, alongside my uncle as well. So in the same aspect as Beth said about her granddad, there's no stopping Tudor. He's never going to stop. I think you could tell him, don't do that, and it's done within about 20 minutes of you saying, don't do that, because we could have done it. But me and my brother were best mates, but it does come to blows, as everybody knows.
Is he older or younger than you?
He's older than me.
Older than you.
But he couldn't do it without me, and I couldn't do it without him. And it's the same with my uncle, really. We can't do it without each other. Like, if you've got, say for instance, I've got belt decks, so they can be quite difficult to lamb. So I'll have a feel, and I'm like, ooh, my brother's like, I'll have a feel. Then we're like, oh, let's go get Tudor, is it, for a third opinion? Even though I know it's probably going to be a vet job, or like if it's difficult. But like Nerys said, you have days, don't you, where you think, I'm not doing this anymore, and then you just forget about it within the next half hour, or just give each other like the look to see what mood they're in, and think, oh, we're all right. Come for dinner, do you want a cup of tea? Or so you just get on with it. Everybody argues, but you just overcome them, don't you, I suppose?
It's not very often you go in the house and you don't make everyone a cup of tea. The tea is the
tea's in the pot,
the saving grace.
I'll make the tea, but I'm not putting in the mug for you.
It's that middle ground, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
It is that thing, though, I think, with family farms, that it's part of the beauty but part of the challenge. You spend so much time
with each other.
There's so much time in that same space that you haven't necessarily, like, I go to work, I can speak to other people and then come home. When you're farming together, you can go and do jobs somewhere else. You can go maybe in and collect some feed, or go and do an errand, or go to market, but you are still in that same space, and often you might be living in the same space as well. That can be a bit of a...
I think lambing time is the hardest as well, because you're all tired.
That doesn't help the situation, does it?
You see each other at your worst, don't you?
Yeah,
definitely.
I think I recall kind of my mum saying many occasions they were milking, we were dairy farming, and she said she used to purposely annoy him so that he wouldn't speak to her. So she was like, so they would be peace and quiet, because she said like they would spend all day every day like milking in the morning, all day together, milking in the afternoon in the home. And she said sometimes, and I used to be as a child, like, oh my god, like, you know, what's wrong with the argument? She's like, I've done it on purpose. She's like, just to shut him up, really. So it was quite funny. Like, it does get really intense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I do find, like, even though I work off farm, you know, when I come back and we are doing sheep and stuff like that, we've got different views on things. So like I've got my views on how things should be done, he's very set in his way. How do you manage those kind of different views? Do you feel like you're all quite in line with things? Like, did you guys, you know, did you go off farm to educate and then come back like with ideas? Like, what's kind of going on with that?
Well, I've got a sports and science degree. I had no ambition to go on the farm originally, so I just didn't think there was a place for me.
Yeah.
But always grown up, worked and helped whenever I could. So then after uni, I remember me and Dad were working on the sheep, and he was like, are you going to get a job? And I thought, well, I quite like it here.
Yeah. And I've never left.
So now I'm getting paid for it.
Yeah.
So.
Was it like a conversation you had then about kind of you like staying there and working? Like, was it, you know, it was a sit down kind of conversation, or just?
Yeah, sort of. It was just sort of a natural chit chat, and like we had a bloke working for us at the time, so didn't really need the extra work, but didn't want to step on his toes type thing. And yeah, I just thought, yeah, I quite like it here. And it was never a conversation of like, you have to come work on the farm. Like, Dad was very honest and said, like, you don't have to be here. Like, you've just got to, like, the thing with farming, like, you've got to want to be here, because it is such a hard job.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Have you ever done anything with your degree?
Nope.
Nothing. You had a good time at uni, presumably.
Yes, I did enjoy university.
Yeah. What about yourselves then? Did either of you go on have a sort of like an education to come back into farming, or?
I worked with horses for a long time.
Okay.
And full-time in a pub, managing a restaurant. So completely different, but it was very much a change and a look through the door differently. And then I went on and did my qualifications with IAGSA to be a farm secretary. So I thought that was the route I was going to go down. I wasn't sure what to do. I was fed up of working with horses for other people, because in my eyes, mine were more important. Like, we breed section Bs, I show horses, I hunt. Like, if I couldn't come home and spend the time on riding mine and producing mine, what was the point in doing other people's, was my attitude. And I suppose I'm very lucky, like, we've got the ground, we've got the ability to keep them.
Although I hear that ground's pretty good for potatoes, apparently.
Yeah, they'd love to plant a field across the road full of spuds, but we kind of forget about that. And I know the day I give up horses, there will be a shed put up over top of my arena. I know that. I will never get a shed, but if I give up, there'll be cattle in there straight away. Good drainage, everything.
I know exactly where my menage is going. It'll never happen, but
yeah,
it will go there one day.
Yeah, so I did my qualifications with IAGSA. I come home and I was like, if an hour in, and then I saw that the local farm Drummonds, they were looking for a secretary part-time, and I applied for that and didn't get the job. But then their poultry manager at the time got hold of my CV, and he was like, do you want to come in for an interview? I was like, well, I'm going lambing for 6 weeks, but I can come in now and then we'll see what happens. He's like, great, because we haven't actually got a job for you. So I started off going around just like standardising paperwork in gatehouses and making sure everything was ready for audits. And now do all the pre-audits, sitting on red tractors, Environment Agency, and it's quite nice because it's a change, but it's also agri. And I could not sit in an office. Like, I go off-site. I literally go to the office to use the printer. And that is really bad. But it's also flexible because it works around farming, and I can sit down on the computer for a couple of hours at night and it doesn't matter. And then, so really lucky in that sense. So it's allowed me to stay farming at home at the same time and take time off to go lambing and things like that. So yeah, enjoyed it. And I suppose we just kind of fell into me working at home. It was never a discussion. It was never a, Dad's getting older, he doesn't want to slow down, but he did admit last year he didn't want to lamb, and that was a big step. But he's been pretty busy feeding cattle all winter, so he's had plenty to do. So it's like my brother's had the bulk of it, and then because I went away lambing, and then it's like, right, come back, what are we doing? And there's always stuff to do. Like, we've only just started turning ewes and lambs away. Everything's been at home. Home is overstocked at the moment, big time, but it's getting there, and it's just making it work for everybody. And I suppose that's what we quite like, that, if I need to go to work, I can, but if I need to be at home, I can just as easily be at home.
That flexibility is important, isn't it?
It makes a world of difference.
What about yourself, Kerys? What were your kind of plans and what do you do?
Ever since a youngster, just wanting to be at home, wanting to be jumping on the bike with Tudor, sitting in front of him, where are we going today, what are we doing? I'll always remember our primary was opposite a few fields, and at the time that we had the road runners, as we'd call them, they'd be here, there and everywhere, and it was like the end of March, and I was sitting in the classroom and I was just staring out the classroom window. My teacher said to me, something interesting up there? I was like, I'm sure that you have lambed over there. She wasn't, let's just say, she wasn't best impressed. No. But ever since I could walk, I'd be hanging on to Tudor. Where are we going? We're going to feed the sheep. Where are we doing? I'm coming. If I'd hear the Land Rover starting, I'd be like, I'm off, I'm gone, I'm going. But yeah, it's always been, I've never really wanted to do anything else. And
so you left school, went straight into it?
I left school, I went to Brentwood College for 3 or 4 years. I had a degree in agriculture. Taught by one of the best tutors, Katie Davis. So I can't say I enjoyed it, but it was sort of, there was bits within that I did enjoy. Yeah. And you do learn little things, like you do learn things. But yeah, as soon as it was like time to go home, it was like, I'm gone, out of the out of the door and gone home to do whatever had to be done. But I think how can I put it? Just being like independent and just working things out for yourself rather than having to be told what to do. Yeah. And I think that was a big step in my uncle's eyes. Oh, she's going and doing it herself now, rather than, have you done this? Have you done that? Have you done this? And you just have the satisfaction of being, done it now. I've already done it. Yeah. So yeah, I hated school. I was not very good at school.
The best thing about school was the day you had off to go to market. Yeah. Like, I didn't care what anyone says.
We could sell the cattle in Breck, and every Friday in August and October I'd have off. And I think that was like throughout my school year. Every Friday, last Friday in August and last Friday in October, Kerys wouldn't be there. My mum was like, "This is gonna, people are gonna start to see this." I'm like, "Oh, don't worry about it. It's fine."
I remember having days off to paint the milk and parlour before they came to do the inspection and things like that. I used to be delighted. I'd never been so happy to paint in my life. But it's things like that. Unless you're part of that industry as a kid, it's difficult to kind of get your head around that, isn't it? Yeah. So kind of growing up then, and when you were younger. Obviously, I mean, you're all kind of very relatively young, and so did you ever feel like, I know you two mentioned that farming wasn't ever really in your eyesight, that was something you always wanted to do. Were you guys ever made to feel like it was something you couldn't do? I know you mentioned that perhaps you felt like there wasn't a place for you there. Is it something you felt that it was just not in your eyesight, for whatever reason?
I don't think, I never saw it as a place for me because I was a girl. Like, I remember Nana always encouraging me, being like, if that's what you want to do it. Yeah. Don't let anyone stand in your way. And I find that, I'm 5 foot nothing and blow over in a strong wind. I'm not going to be as useful as a 6 foot, 13 stone bloke. But I also have my strengths in other areas.
Yeah. Unless you're lambing.
Yeah.
Those little hands.
Yeah. That's where I come into my own. I've got very small hands.
Yes, yeah. I'm always good at going up on roofs as well, and going up ladders.
That's your job.
Yes.
Set up high.
In the combine, get in the chamber there.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me. But also, I think because I'm so stubborn and determined that I will be like, yeah, I can do that. I can do this. And when you do things that people say you can't do, you're like, yeah, have that.
Do you think that's a trait of females in agriculture? Because I don't know about you, I know, well, we're stubborn, incredibly.
100%.
We are stubborn.
Yeah.
Annie's out of it, incredible, another female farmer, very stubborn. Do you think, would you guys all say you're quite stubborn? Do you think you have to be?
You do in this job.
Yeah.
Because if you don't stick at something, if something is constantly kicking you down and you think, I can't do this anymore, you're
you
going to end up not doing it.
Yeah.
So you have to have that mindset of, I'm going to beat you and I'm going to do it, and that's just what will make you, be able to do.
Makes you succeed, doesn't it?
Of course.
More than anything.
But at the same time, I know there's jobs that I'm physically incapable of doing it, and there's no point trying to do it because I know I'll just end up hurting myself or breaking something. So
and that's a really important point, actually, because I think you're right there. I think actually stubborn to a certain point, but actually admitting, but and I'm not capable of doing that, and that's fine, and being okay with that, because I think some people will probably go back to go the other way and maybe just try to do those things because they feel like they should, because I'm a woman, I'm an independent woman, and I'm a bit kind of, I'm quite thing for that. I will just do anything. But it does, I think you're right. Being able to turn around and be like, actually, I can't do that, I think is really important, isn't it?
I don't think that just relates to being a female. Grandpa at 91.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He's like, oh, I can do it. And I'm like, yeah, but you can't, so just don't do it.
Yeah.
And actually, I think it's really interesting because my partner shears, and he instructs people in how to shear sheep. And he's commented before that sometimes training a woman who's smaller or is physically less strong will be a far better shearer, because they have to learn to work with the animal rather than thinking, right, I'm strong enough, I can make this thing do what, and those people, whether they're male, female or whatever, who will just try and use their physical strength, they tire themselves out. They're not using the easiest, most effective way of doing things. And I think that applies with whatever you're doing. If you just think, right, I'm just going to push through and just do it because I can, and bash it until it works. It, you know, hitting something with a hammer isn't always the best way forward, is it? So I think it maybe teaches you to have to be more creative or more thoughtful, or step back and think, right, how am I going to get this to happen?
Definitely.
How am I going to make this work?
So we touched on it a little bit there, where you know, about the whole kind of being female and things like that. You know, have you guys ever experienced any sort of negative backlash for being a female in farming? I know, you know, there's many stories of people rocking up on farms and asking to speak to the farmer when they come across, you know, the wife or whatever else have you. And you know, is that something you guys have ever been confronted with, or have you been lucky enough to kind of not?
I think the stereotype is changing. I don't know, like, for everybody, but females do farm. It's common knowledge. And like, you rock up on a farm and I'm dressed as a farmer. I look like I farm. I'm covered in shit. There's no two ways about it. People, I think it's changing big time. Personally, I haven't found a big issue with it. It's when they...
God. Never mind, shit, it'd be some weird words coming out in a minute. Oh, Christ, on a bicycle.
That was a big one, isn't it?
That was big.
That was like a cat. I'm actually petrified of anything like that that's got legs. Don't mind me. I'm just going to finish off like this in case it comes over here. Anyway, sorry. Carry on.
I think the big thing is when they come on and, who's the decision maker?
Yeah.
That's more the hard-hitting thing, I think.
Yeah.
Because, like, you can make decisions on the farm even if you're not the farm owner. Like, you work with your family on the farm. I think big time it's changing. There would be nobody in market that would question whether I'm farming at home or not, because I don't think they'd be brave enough to.
There's a big cultural shift in that, isn't there, though, I do feel.
Yeah.
You know, I think, like, over the years, I think that's, you know, I remember my nan always being referred to as the farmer's wife, whereas, like, realistically, she was milking, you know, she's 93 now, but even back in years ago, she was milking the cow, she was doing just as much work. Yeah. And my mum exactly the same, worked just as hard as my dad. I think there has been that shift in that label of women within farming.
Yeah, definitely. Like, when I first started full-time at home, and, like, you'd go to market, and other than, like, little daughters, I was the only female there. Like, they weren't about, and, like, I always found
every animal that moves now, we're like
on the edge now. And, like, even, like, clothing, like, I was wearing equine clothing all the time, or kids clothing, because there was just no female, proper female clothes for the farm. So that's changed. Like, I've noticed in, like, my 14 years on the farm.
Decent work jeans.
Yeah.
That last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about yourself then, Kerys? Have you sort of ever had any?
No, never. Like Nerys said, I think it'd be very brave.
Brave or stupid?
Brave or stupid, I'm not sure. But I'm quite a open-minded person, and I will say what I think. And I think if somebody did say, well, you're a woman, you can't be a farmer, I'd be like, okay. I probably wouldn't really say anything. I'd probably just be like, well, I'm going to work harder now and show you what I can do, rather than
makes you more
rather than be like, well, I can, and argue with somebody, because there's no point arguing with somebody like that. You just fight against a losing battle. But no, never. I've always been brought up with men, surrounded by men, you know, in the family, and no, never. And I've just a lot of women that sort of scream about it are also like the types of people that are just sort of clutching at straws at some point. Some of the things that they say is like, well, there's no way somebody said that to you to, like, you know, try and make you feel stupid. Nobody, don't care whether you're a man, a woman, or a fridge, to be fair. If you can do your job,
you
just
good at what you
push
do.
on and do what you can do. There's been a lot of negativity in the press about, you know, like sexism in farming, and I think it's a lot of people, like my nan used to say, empty vessels speak loudest, or make the most noise, whatever the saying is, but no disrespect to anybody. Maybe some people, and don't get me wrong, probably some people have come across these types of things, but I
think we're very lucky in Glamorgan. I can't say for you, Nerys, but like all the boys that I've come across respect you if you're good at your job. Like no one, not
it's like
one,
in any industry, isn't it? If you're good at what you do.
No one has ever come up to me and be like, why are you farming, Beth? You're a girl. Like no one. I think I'm very lucky with that. But I do hear stories where there are very sexist in ways, and they won't, like, if there's a girl, a daughter and sons, and they're like, oh, the son's going to have the farm. He doesn't want the farm, and the daughter does. And it's just in the father's head that no, that's not right.
I think that's a really good point, Beth, that you make about geography, because I'm from the same sort of area as you, and I've never encountered that. When you talked about going to market, yes, there are more women who are selling their stock now, maybe. But even from when I was a child, there were women who came to market and were the farmer selling stock. I can remember, I can list their names. So it's never been something that I don't farm full time, because I was brought up that it wasn't going to be a lucrative enough job, basically, that the opportunities weren't there. It was nothing to do with the fact of being female or not. It was just the future for it. And actually, my family comes from a line of females who have been the farmer. So, but maybe that's because of our area, and in other parts of the country, there is what you talk about sort of, mixed gender children, and the expectation that the daughter might go and find somebody else and find another farm, and the son will take the farm without that conversation, perhaps is a little bit more prevalent. But certainly my experience is I've never encountered anything personally, never been questioned whether you can do something or not.
The only thing same sort of thing, I've never really encountered anything. There is the odd comment sometimes about my husband with the farming, and I just tell him, no, he's the farmer's wife, and that's what I say. It's like, I'm the farmer, he's the farmer's wife. He goes and makes the tea while I'm out sorting the tea, and that's how we run it. And he's quite happy with that. I presume he's got no choice. But it is an interesting concept, isn't it? Because it is made to feel like it's a big thing when actually very little of us experience that kind of negativity. And like you said, the proof is in the pudding of how you work, and that's like any industry. If you're doing your job properly, you earn that respect, don't you? Rather than kind of just because of your gender.
And sometimes we hear people saying, oh, well, this man came to help me, and as if I couldn't do it. Actually,
probably coming to help you.
It probably would come to help anybody, whether you were a man or a woman, because certainly working in markets, that's what I see, is that people will help somebody that they want to help. They think, oh, you're on your own, you could do the second pair of hands.
And that doesn't matter if you're male or female.
Absolutely,
Like you told the door open for anyone.
Yeah, completely.
So, definitely.
Yeah. It's I think sometimes it is that sort of how you respond to something, what you're seeing, your perspective.
Like the people that don't want to accept help are creating the problem.
Yeah. So what's your, obviously farming full-time kind of occupation and keeps you kind of busy. Do you take time off the farm? Do you have that time away from it? How does it work with your sort of structures like that then?
Well, I always try and get away for like a weekend or like at least a holiday. Like I think that's with the flexibility of working with your dad, is that you can be like, right, I'm going to go away this week, and you're like, yeah, no problem, or vice versa. So like you have got to leave or you'll go insane. So you always try and make yourself, even if it's just for an evening or a night, like you've got to leave.
Yeah. What about yourselves?
For me, I hunt twice a week, so that's my downtime. And then like at the end of the day, go back to the pub, be talking to the oldies about different stories and chatting away and different farmers. But I hate holidays. I won't go on holiday. I haven't got a passport. Never had a passport.
Have you not?
Never been on a girls' holiday.
Missing out.
I went. Is it when you're young enough you can go on your mother's passport?
Yeah.
That. So I went to Ibiza with my mum.
I think you must have been like 2.
I hated it. I cried for 7 days straight.
This makes me think of my brother who cried in the whole holiday. I want my JCB. I miss my tractor. This is for you, wasn't it? That's what you did.
It was. And we came home, and when we were out here on the Saturday, I knew the hunt was coming to the farm, and I was like, I wanted to be there, and I wasn't there. And as soon as we come off the airplane, I said, Mum, how long are we going to be now till we get home? Oh, about an hour. I got home and Tudor was on the yard, on the bike. I didn't know where he was going. I just got out of the car, I ran up, I jumped on the bike. I said, don't ever make me go out there. Please. And then my brother was bailing somewhere, and we went to watch him bailing. I was like, and then he said to me, I can remember, he said to me, there's an airplane going over. He said, where would you rather be now? Sitting by here or in that airplane? I said, I'm never getting another airplane. I'm staying on the ground. 4 wheels, 4 legs, whatever, but I'm staying on the ground. But
so never sort of crossed your mind to try it again and go and do nothing?
Absolutely not.
No.
My best friend Michaela, she went to New Zealand last year or the year before. Yeah, last year.
Yeah.
And she done 6 months out there, and she said, I loved it, you'd love it, go and do it. And I thought, Nerys brushed on it earlier, why, I know it's for the experience and stuff, but why would you want to go out there and work with somebody else and you could be doing it for yourself at home?
Yeah.
But that's just my, that's my put on things.
I did a really similar conversation actually with the last sort of podcast we had with the chaps on there, and they said the same thing, it's like you've got it at home, it's nice to do it.
Yeah, and you're doing it for yourself then,
Yeah.
and it is nice, I suppose, to go away, and some people like a week away, but my break is getting the dogs out and going for a ride around the sheep on the bike, or jumping on the horse and going for a ride with the dogs, or a walk, wherever, and during the summer. But yeah, holidays, and don't like being away, don't like missing out. I've never have been the type, and even if I do go away for the day, say I go to a hound show or I go to a show, wherever, everything okay? What's happening? What have we been doing then? They're like, bugger off, leave us alone, we're all right.
There's a real cute link here. If you go for the day, it's dogs or horses. It's all very much linked to it.
Have you fed my dogs? And my brother would be like, no, I haven't fed them. No, Innie, I've fed them. Yeah.
You say that, I did 6 months in New Zealand, and Dad's phone bill was astronomical. And my brother was furious because he could have just rang me through WhatsApp or Messenger on the Wi-Fi. But no, he used the landline, and I spoke to home every day because I wanted to know what was happening, when which cow had calved, and great experience, but still I wanted to be at home. I've travelled a good bit and travelled with young farmers a lot, and I quite happily get on a plane and go away.
No, you could have my seat then.
But I do say don't go away with dairy farmers because all they do is sleep. I'm not very good at sitting still. But literally it was actually I quite like coming home.
Yeah.
And you see people go abroad and never come back, and it's never appealed to me not to come home because we're so lucky. I go hunting as well, and during the winter that's your off time. In the summer, going to the shows, doing things it might only be a day, and it might be a lot of work if you're taking sheep or horses or whatever, but it's also you see everybody, it's your out, and I think it's everybody's out time, and I do a lot of young farmers, and that's great for it as well. But it's the fact that you want to come home, you want to know what's happening, even if you are only away for a day.
I think I'm quite happy and easy to switch off once I'm away, but I want to know everything once I'm back. So I think I can completely switch off.
Oh, I gotta say, the worst thing I've ever done, I was in Blackpool on AGM, and Dad rang me up and was like, have you moved the cattle off? I was like, no. He's like, well, these are the numbers, find a pen, write them down. Middle of Blackpool, I was like, I can't do this. That was the point. I was like, we really need to get somebody else to move cattle off when I'm away. It was not the time or place. I could have made a serious mistake there. Luckily I didn't, but it's
might have been on your
I hate to think what time of day it was. Could not even tell you.
But the BCM squad that will come through drunk.
But it's like those things you're like, actually that was quite funny. I remember that. We asked a policeman for a pen, and I wrote the cattle numbers on my friend's arm. It didn't matter, why we didn't use another phone just to put the numbers in, I don't know. But it's those things you're like, actually, it's great fun, and you don't mind doing it, and I'm not the best at switching off because I'm not very good at not doing anything. If I get off doing stuff, fine. But still you get home and you're like, oh, okay, what's been going on? What's happened?
I can't even miss, my brother go out at 12 and 2 o'clock, and if you wait because you've heard him going out to check, you're thinking, I wonder if that cow calved, I wonder if that ewe have lambed, and then it's my turn to go out there and say 4, 6 o'clock, whatever, and it's he's left a little note this cow's calved, and straight out, oh, what's she got, what colour is it, what's this, what's that, I can't miss it, I can't, Nerys said that she would go away during calving, I couldn't miss it, I could not miss it, just through the absolute excitement, but then what if something goes wrong? Oh, they could have needed me, perhaps they needed extra hand and stuff like that, so I'm
that FOMO, isn't it? I'm not missing out.
I do go to
I suppose it's also that feeling of what if something went wrong and I wasn't there.
I do go to Royal Welsh for a week, but the week before that is
that's the holiday.
It is, that's the holiday. It is flat out trying to make sure every sheep is shorn.
Get everything sorted so you can go and hopefully not have to go home.
2 years ago I was we'd gathered ours and we were shearing because myself and my brother at the time were shearing our sheep, and my neighbour rang, will you just gather for us tonight? Yeah, no problem. So, do you know when you're rushing, so you need to go home and pack stuff because you're leaving in the next morning, and I've never given myself enough time. So I was on the phone to my dad at the time, and we was walking across this path. I was working my dog, had one down, one up, and I fell about 20 foot down a banking, and I landed on a gorse bush, right? The photos are horrendous. So as you can imagine, all down my back and my leg was black. No. My mum was picking gorse bushes out of my arm. It was just horrendous, and I was just thinking, I could have gone to Royal Welsh, I guess, for a week. And I was limping around Royal Welsh for a week with a black leg, and everyone's going, how have you done that? God, please stop. But yeah, it's the love you have for the job, and when you love it as much as, I can't speak for other people, but as much as I do, then you don't want to miss a second of it, really.
And I think you have to love it. It's not the type of job you can just be half-assed about, is it? Like, you've got to kind of have that real love for what you want to do. Yeah. So you all touched on the fact you got horses. Something I'm very jealous about, and my 7-year-old daughter would be incredibly jealous about. She sat on a horse a couple of weeks ago, and that's it now. She's going to be a horse rider for life. I was never allowed a horse. It was a big thing, and I think there's a big sort of split within the farming community about horses, isn't there? It's like you're either like well into them or you're like really against them. My dad's well against them. They weren't happening at all. But all of you have spoken about your horses, a lot of your outlet and things like that. So how did you get into horses?
Mum took me and my sister to horse riding lessons when we were about 7, I think, and just fell in love with it. Yeah. And then bought ponies, and Dad converted one of the cattle sheds, like an old cow shed, into stables, with the idea that we would have our little hobby and it would be done by the time we were like teenagers.
Get out of the system.
Yeah, which worked with my sister but not me. So I'm here now, however many years later, and still got my horses. Haven't got any particularly nice, like, expensive facilities. I've just got a field with a corner, a couple of jumps, and yeah, that's my my little outlet. And I think it, like, Dad knows that that's my, like, my thing. Yeah. So yeah, I'm very lucky that I can keep them on the farm. I got the bedding, the feeds. Yeah, I think and it's my escape from the farm without actually having to leave the farm.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What about yourself, skills?
I suppose my mum bred Section B ponies when I was younger, and we've always had ponies on the farm, much to my dad's dismay. But I was never allowed to ride until I could do everything with them. Like, we had ponies there, but unless I could muck it out and tack it up and care for it, it was very much, no, you're not doing it. And I suppose that's made me appreciate it more, because my dad does far more with my horses now, and I'm 28, than he did when I was 12, 15.
Yeah, probably same.
Like, he literally...
Does he realise now, oh hell, they're not good anymore?
Well, I also tell him it's kind of his own fault. He should have got me into showing sheep or cattle when I was younger. Yeah. Like, you kind of made your own bed, you've got to lie in it now. But I suppose I started then when I was about 7 or 8, joined Pony Club, did everything. Yeah. Started hunting when I was 9, 10. And very lucky, I used to get dropped off, waved goodbye, and then I'd phone them at the end of the day, I'm on this road heading for here, can you come and pick me up? And like, Mum used to get real agitated about it, and like, you could hear the aunties in the background and things like that, and I'd just be like, yeah, I'm just gonna trot home and I'll find Dad at some point. And I suppose it's that like enjoyment, and that's why I was always allowed to keep the ponies and do stuff, because I got so much out of it. Both my brothers went to Brymore Agricultural Boarding School. I had an arena put in. In my eyes, a far better option than going away to school.
Long-term investment, that one.
They were like, what do you want to do? And I was like, well, I don't want to go to school where I've got to wear a skirt. And that was literally my reasoning. So I had the arena put in, and nice. I've made good use of it, and we're actually resurfacing it at the moment. Sand is very expensive. I'm not going to lie. Sand has gone up in price big time.
You need to come and live in Pembrokeshire. We've got loads of sand.
Go
down with a bucket every day. You're super there.
Do you know, I did say maybe I should just go to the beach. Yeah. But no, so we've got, I've been lucky. I've got a hunter, a cob that I hunt. I've got a Welsh Park bred show mare, and then we breed the Section Bs. So it's good fun. Like, we don't do it because you don't make lots of money in horses. The way to make money in horses is buying and selling, and I used to do a few through the winter and hunt and sell again, but it's time, and you've got to, I'd rather enjoy my horses. That's why I stopped working with them, because I didn't enjoy it then. But no, to be able to do what I do, I'm very grateful for it. And it's that out, and there's nothing better than going around the stock on your horse and not worrying and being able to move them. Or my biggest achievement was jumping off the horse and catching a ewe that was lambing. But I did have to phone Dad because I couldn't bring her back. Well, the horse had gone. The horse had gone.
But I got the ewe.
But I got the ewe, and it was a difficult lambing, so he just had to bring the quad and a bucket of cake to catch the horse again.
Please tell me you were in a cowboy hat at the time.
No, my mum would kill me if I didn't wear a riding hat, I'm not going to lie, and life's just not worth that. No. But no, that is my biggest achievement, without a doubt. But it was like, Zach was there grazing, just like, nah, not interested, mate.
Kerys, you mentioned you got your horses, you like to go hunting.
Yeah, it's got to the point now with my brother, if he sees it in a field that a cow or a sheep can be grazing in, it is going to be shot.
Oh,
so it's
that.
Like...
Is your brother interested in horses at all?
I hate some.
Oh, does
what
he?
about hunting?
I hate some.
Yeah,
he won't ride.
everything.
He's on it. I had a little Section A pony. I bought it 2 years ago, and I'd bought some 5 blue-faced Leicester ewe lambs. And as you can imagine, there was not much difference in size of them. And he was trying to get the sheep down, and Rosie was just back and forth following the sheep. Run down into the yard, hit the gates and hurdles everywhere, horse out the field, sheep out the field, and you could just hear my brother going, these effing horses. I was like, oh, bugger. But we've got my old horse there, but I've had her for like 15 years now. She's not going to go anywhere. Probably not going to be allowed to have another one because it's just, like I said, she's eating what a cow can be eating, or she's eating what a sheep can be eating.
You'd hate to know how many we have.
Yeah, one is enough. But it is nice to jump on and go for a little ride round in the summer and stuff, but then it's just a lot of time and effort into them, and I'm just like...
So what do you prefer then? The horse?
Bike.
Cows?
Sorry.
My favourite thing on the farm. No, I mean like the animals then, like, because you're all kind of doing a bit mixed farming, aren't you? What's your favourite animal?
There's a balance. It's nice to work with sheep when they want to be, helpful, and
When's that then?
sometimes. But it's just a balance of both, really. For me, I wouldn't be seen without cows. I wouldn't be seen without sheep. I like them both, but it's just.
And I suppose like suckler herds are dwindling.
I
think there's nothing better than seeing cows and calves about. I don't know about you, but it's just we had our worst calving ever last year, and it was really like demoralising, and it happens. You get a bad run, but this year, touch wood, it's gone so well, and like we lamb the same time we calve. It's a lot of work, but it's been so worth it. And like turning young calves out to grass, they skip and play about. I don't think there's any better sight. But then you can say the same about lambs, can't you?
Yeah.
They find a bit of a tump to run up, and they love it, and that makes it worth it in my eyes.
So where do you see kind of like your future within farming then? Because obviously, there's lots of change in farming at the moment, isn't there? There's lots of kind of uncertainty. We've had all these issues with inheritance tax that has been, TB and all these different things that are constantly kind of coming up that are causing these concerns in farming. Like, where do you see your future in farming? I suppose in an ideal world and in a realistic sense as well.
Good question. It's so uncertain. Like, you just don't really know what stupidity they're going to come up with next, and hurdles for you to jump over. You just got to take everything with a pinch of salt and hope for the best. I suppose that's all you can really do. I mean, some of the things they've come up with, you think it would be, unknown. It just doesn't seem real. Some of the things they're coming up with, you just think, really?
They're just so out of touch with the agricultural world, aren't they?
Yeah, it's people trying to tell farmers how to do their job when they haven't got a first-class clue how to do it themselves.
And I think if you think about it too much, you're going to get yourself down, and you're going to think, why do we bother doing this? Because like at the end of the day, we're producing a product that should be appreciated far more than it is.
Yeah, I think it's unappreciated because farmers over the years have done such a good job producing food. Like, obviously, best grandparents, Nerys' parents, my uncle, there's lots of people out there. They have done such a good job over the years. They've put so much food on the plates for people, and it's just thinking it's just going to be there,
It's taking it for granted.
That's
because it's so readily available all the
Yeah.
time, and that they don't appreciate where it's come from and the work that's gone into getting that.
It. They think it's just walk into Tesco's or as does Sainsbury's, wherever, and take the food off the plates. They don't actually realise the blood, sweat and tears that's gone in, and the arguments.
We had a conversation about this in the last podcast, and that kind of idea of do you think, like, as an industry, we just don't sell ourselves well enough? And I suppose what what could we do as an industry to sell ourselves better. You got big companies out there who are advertising and selling themselves as a brand and as a company, whereas as farmers we just quietly get on with everything producing because that's what we have to do. We take the hits from the prices of things because we're told that's what we've got to do. What more do you think as an industry that we need to do to be able to kind of improve that, I suppose, with the general public?
So that's a difficult one, really, because a good friend of mine, they fatten Angus cattle and they sell them, for the public. There's a little shop there, they have one slaughtered a month and they go there, and a lot of people just say like, oh, it's such nice produce, and it is, but then a lot of people are going on cost of things, where a good piece of beef is quite expensive in some people's eyes, where you can, go and get 2 bags of shopping for the price of like a good, a good sirloin steak or something, do you know what I mean? But I think it's just cost. Everybody's looking on cost these days, nor of actually the goodness.
Then someone would quite easily go and have their hair, nails,
definitely.
Holiday, go out for a day and spend 200 quid just like that and not think of it.
Yeah,
they don't appreciate the value of it.
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing, and people don't know how to cook as much anymore. Like you don't see people selling potatoes anymore in bags. I know it's like very odd to think that now, but we could all use a bag of potatoes, but what can lots of people do with a bag of potatoes? They buy frozen chips. They don't know. It's how things have changed.
Lifestyle change. Like everyone's always on the go. Everyone just wants something like
quick, convenient.
Yeah.
Do you think that's the job of the industry, to try and change that mindset of people? Do you think like that's on us as farmers to sort of advertise our sacks of potatoes better and advertise kind of the things that can be done with our meat or whatever it is that we're selling? Is that on us to do that?
I think it should be in schools more.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, like cooking in school, and I liked my cooking, so I was interested in it. But it was always a class that would just was made a mockery of because they weren't interested.
They
in
don't
anything.
even do it in a lot of
I had
schools
to ask
anymore.
how to use a microwave in cooking class in school. We didn't have one.
I know that in the secondary school my daughter's in, they don't cook. She hasn't cooked at all, and she's in year 9. It's like it's really dwindled.
Yeah.
Lucky for
Making
her.
eat a mess or something.
Yeah,
That's
but we
not
do.
looking.
Exactly. We do a lot of cooking at home, and she's quite, she's really capable. But it is very much, isn't it? You're right. But even the types of cooking that has been done is with processed food and things. It's not using kind of your fresh ingredients.
Yeah, like making Welsh cakes isn't going to feed a family, is it? Like baking cakes.
But
making a
it's a very staple food. Yeah. But like when I went to university and like watching the boys like look at an oven and just be like, how do I make it work? Like, what do you mean? Like just shocked that a grown adult has no idea how to cook a meal for themselves. Is bonkers.
And there's quite a lot of people who can't.
Yeah.
They can use maybe an air fryer and they can use a microwave. But actually to cook a meal from scratch.
Yeah.
You look how many people go out for Sunday lunch for a roast dinner.
Yeah.
A roast dinner to us is like the most easiest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Veg, potatoes, meat.
I hate cooking a roast dinner. But thankfully my partner is very good at doing a roast dinner.
We most probably have it like twice a week.
No, my mother does them most weeks, but he can cook a cracking roast dinner.
Yeah.
We have a roast dinner like every Sunday without fail.
Yeah.
And
There's a
then last Sunday we went on a farm tour. It was really good. And then the kids were like, oh, do you think we can have a Toby Carvery? I was like, I cook you roast dinner every week and you want to go to that place? So I was like, are you for real? They were so excited and they were like, oh, do you know what, yours is alright, it's better actually. I was like, I know.
Thank God for that.
I know, but yeah, they wanted to try it. It's like, we live in Pembrokeshire, there's no Toby Carvery in Pembrokeshire. So it was a very exciting sort of thing. But you're right, it's like there isn't that same value, I think, on decent food. I think maybe food has been made too readily available, too cheap and too quick. That actually those kind of cooked meals, which do take that bit longer, they're not.
But something like a roast dinner, you cook the meat you cook all of it on the Sunday, but that meat then lasts for a few days through the week.
Oh, I wish that lasted in our house. It'd be lovely.
Yeah, but it is that thing of that is the expensive item, isn't it? But actually it's not expensive when you work out how many meals you're getting from it, and being able to repurpose the ingredients you've got. So you've got cooked veg that's left over, so you maybe make a fry up or something with it, or put it in a
Bubble
pie.
and squeak.
That kind of ability to have those basic skills to know how food works. That's not there.
Yeah, like my nan doesn't use her food waste bin.
Yeah, exactly.
There's hardly any.
Because you've used it all. Yeah. You've used the bones for stock or something.
Yeah.
It's that basic knowledge of how to get everything, eke everything from it.
Yeah.
Instead of just buying cheap, but buying something with very little nutritional value.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing.
So what about yourselves then? I mean, you mentioned about the future. What about yourselves within where do you see your future in the farming? Do you see yourself, this is it now, you're going to farm? Is it, something that you'll kind of hopefully pass on, or what's your kind of thoughts around that?
And have you had conversations as a family about that as well?
I think we just sort of just go with the flow. Like we all want to be there, so we just keep going.
Yeah.
No set in stone plans, just enjoying it.
You would?
We haven't talked about succession and stuff like that. It's something that we need to sort this out, but nobody ever, you just keep going,
it's
don't
that
you?
elephant in the room, isn't
Yeah.
it? You all know
Big
it's
time.
there,
And I suppose Dad didn't get the farm until his dad died. Like, Dad was in his 60s before he had full control.
Yeah.
And I suppose it's that demographic changing and mindsets changing of how things work. And I'd love to say that I'm gonna, in 20 years time, I'll still be working with my brother on the family farm, but you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's around the corner, and hopefully it'll be that, and I might even have a stables then, but you never know.
I want to dig a pond. You're horsey lot, right? I just want a pond. I just want a massive pond. That's what I'm aiming for.
Mum wants a pond.
Yeah, I want a big, massive one that I can swim in. That's all I want to do.
We did get her ducks, but no pond.
Oh, I got ducks in the pond. You wouldn't want to swim in that. It's disgusting. But I keep threatening. My mum and dad are going on holiday in October for 3 weeks. I'm like, right, when you get back,
chance.
there's going to be a big old bloody pond in that field. Is that nice dip there? That's going to lend itself really nicely. But succession is a massive issue in the sector, isn't it? Being able to have those discussions. You mentioned you're quite very laid back about it. I think it frightens me a little bit. I live on farm. My grandmother lives at the top of the farm. My parents live there, and I kind of do keep sitting down every now and again. We really need to talk about this. We really do. I am a little bit concerned about what happens, and if God forbid anything did happen suddenly, what would we go from there? And it's a very much say we will. It's not happened.
Yeah.
And it does worry me a little bit. There's a lot of there's assets and things, and how does that get split? And it is just a bit I've got a brother, so it's how does that work? And it's I don't know, it's a really uncomfortable conversation. It makes me feel a bit
so you just don't have it.
So we just don't have it. And I think that's probably the point of it, isn't it? People don't have them because it's a bit it's awkward, isn't it?
The big thing we've all agreed on is we don't want the farm to be left in the situation that Dad got left in.
Okay.
Because Dad had to pay people out that have been paid out before, but how wills were left and things like that. And we don't want to have to see the farm struggle for everything else to work. And I suppose that's a big thing we've agreed on as a family, is we want to do what's best for the farm and everything, but also what's best for us. But it's just actually making sure that does happen, because nobody wants to be put in difficult situations or having to sell the farm because of succession. It'd be a horrible feeling. We're lucky we own where we live, and I couldn't live in town. It'd be horrible. You go home, you ground, you walk outside any time of day, and
I feel like
it's
that's any
nice.
farmer's fear is neighbours. Genuinely, I just say all the time, I couldn't have a neighbour. I was not only because my kids are absolutely feral and they would just be horrified, but it was just I couldn't sort of go back to that lifestyle of. I did live in a village for a short amount of time, and then I was I'm going home. But.
When I was in uni, I was in Cardiff, and I had the front downstairs bedroom, and I found out the hard way that I do have to shut curtains.
Yeah. Oh my God, I'm just saying, I don't shut curtains.
Yeah.
I don't actually have curtains on my house. all the downstairs doesn't have curtains because you just don't
need
have
them.
people. I found in university I hated streetlights. That was what I noticed. I was and
dark.
cars. Oh my God, there's nothing worse than the noise of a car going past your house. I've got to sleep in complete silence. If there's a cockerel or whatever, that's fine. But cars and streetlights are just not my friends at all.
But then when I've had towny friends stay at mine, they're like, "Oh my God, your sheep makes so much noise." And
you're like, what?
That's really funny. We got an Airbnb at the end of the house, and we had people stay, and some of the comments have been really funny of the noise of the pigs and things like that, and then the smell, it's it's a farm, that's what you're coming to stay in. But no, it is quite funny. So I suppose farming, we talk a lot about, on a lot of these podcasts, about kind of the mental health side of farming. And obviously we know that it's a very male-dominated sector, which is why it carries a huge rate of suicide, because it is very male-dominated. What is your experiences with regards to kind of like mental health within the sector? You know, have you found that your mental health has been impacted, or maybe positively or negatively? But also kind of those of your kind of male colleagues, I suppose, and how you see that?
I think a big thing is you need to get off farm now and again, even if it is just going like to young farmers or for a pint down the pub, because if you stay there all the time, you can get to the point where, shit, I haven't been off a farm in like 3 weeks. Like my brother, he goes to market. He likes going to market. Doesn't often go if we haven't got stock going, but we'll go and see the trade, and we live 20 minutes away from market. Like, and it's, I think market's turned into such a social place that is good for people's mental health, without even trying to do anything, because a lot of people think, oh, mental health, it's a taboo topic. We don't want to talk about that. We're a man, we're strong. But they go, they talk to people, they feel better. You talk to people after hunting, you feel like a weight's lifted. You share in what you're going through does make a big difference.
I feel like that's definitely the case with like social media, and people like share their problems or show like a you on her back and things like that. And like having a conversation with Dad, like back when he was my age, like he'd be lambing on the shed on his own, and he would literally not socialise with anyone until he physically left the farm and spoke to someone. Whereas like now you can send a picture or chat to someone and be like, it's really nice to hear someone else's problem, to be like, oh yeah, actually it's not just me. Like the year before last, we had really bad joint ill, and then going to speak to a load of farmers and be like, oh, joint ill's been an absolute nightmare this year. And you think, okay,
Actually,
it's not me doing something wrong, it is just a thing. So it's nice that you can have that problem. Or like when you're up at like 2 o'clock in the morning doing the night shift, and like, I've got friends in New Zealand, and you're chatting to them. So you've always have got that,
somebody's there.
That connection.
yeah, that communication, not physically, but that's where social media is good, in the sense that you can always
Kind of reduces that isolation, which is a big factor for mental health, isn't it, and mental well-being.
What about you, Kerys?
For me, I've never really come across mental health. I scream at my brother screams back at me, and then the load's been lifted off our shoulders. My best friend's dad committed suicide when she was very young, and it's sort of, when you hear her talking about, you know, little things that, I wish we could have done this, or I wish we could have had the opportunities to do that, it sort of puts it into perspective then, that you never really know what anybody is thinking. So, you know, you'd hope that if something was bothering someone, they'd just be like, oh, can we have a chat? But unfortunately, like Nerys said, a lot of male farmers are like, no, I'm not going to say anything, because, you know, hopefully it'll go away, or it won't. But it's difficult when you don't know what somebody else, you know, is thinking. You'd like to think you'd know if something was wrong, but you just never do. But you know, a little chat here or a little chat there, or if somebody's quiet, Beth spoke about social media, you know, send somebody a Snapchat, how are you, what's been happening, how's lambing going, or, you know, just like little things like that. We're a very close family, we are, and our neighbours, we all have a little chat, or, you know, you ring up, oh, how's your lambing going, or, oh, my ewe died, or this died, oh, never mind, you know, perhaps you'll have a good run or something now, just like you just try and cheer each other up, I suppose, don't you? But luckily we've never had that in our family, but sadly it does happen, doesn't it?
In terms of, a couple of you mentioned social media and using it in a really positive way. Is it something that you find that you use a lot in farming, that you're maybe getting information from social media, getting, you know, there's different groups that will have advice, I suppose, or do you find it as a distraction, or, you know, what's your sort of relationship with social media? Because from my perspective, I'd say that I find myself sometimes going down rabbit holes and spending too long on there. Sometimes you see things that irritate you or make you angry. And it's time to put the phone down. But also I've learnt a lot as well from different platforms, I suppose. But we use social media a lot, don't we, as a charity as well, to try and make sure that people know that they're not alone.
Yeah.
So, you know, what's your views? What's your thoughts as a generation that probably grew up with social media being really there?
Yeah, like I definitely learnt a lot of things and real helpful tips, or you know, you can speak to someone like I've never met and just been like, oh, if you've had this problem, how have you solved it, and da-da-da-da-da. But like, yeah, there was also a lot of shit on there that you can't believe. But I also find that, like, if I put up a picture on the farm, I want to make sure, like, there's not a skip in the mowing, that it's straight, is the cab window open, like, if someone's going to criticise it, and then you just think,
do you feel a lot of pressure?
Yeah, but then also you're just like, why am I feeling pressured to do stuff? Like, I'm not a big fan of these female influencers in their bikinis, in a tractor and things like that. It does not sit well with me that the female farming have been trying to get respect for years and years and years.
To then do that.
To then do that.
Do you think it sets everything back?
And just to make a quick buck, essentially, isn't it?
To get their free Fairfax and Favour handbag. Like, just, it does not sit well with me at all.
I think we can all agree on that.
You'll never catch me in a bikini on a tractor. Absolutely not. Can you imagine doing that? Your dad
Or
walks
if you
around the
did,
corner and you'd be like, what?
But if you
on
did,
earth?
you wouldn't have to post
wouldn't
it
you?
online
Like,
to show the world, would you? Like, because realistically, if you were in a bikini tractor, it's because your aircon is shit and it's not working, and because it's like 30 degrees outside and you're sweating your tits off. But ultimately,
and then as soon as you see your neighbour,
but
you haven't
got your hair done, your makeup done, and taking a selfie and put it all over Facebook. Like, that's the reality of it. I found myself in many a time. I remember shearing a few years ago. I am not a shearer by any stretch of the imagination, but I do my best at home, and I was literally dying. I think it's something to do with going out the night before as well. I sweat inside it. But like, I was literally like in my bra, just like, I don't even care at this point. No photos were taken all over the thing, because that was the reality. It was hot, a bloke could do it with his top off. But it is, it does feel like we're setting ourselves back here. We've worked really hard to be able to prove that, we are, capable, we are able, we're managing this, you know, and then that kind of almost sets it back to like, that's the standard of where we're at with it, isn't it? But what I find really difficult is the opinion you have on that is then just seen as, oh, well, you're just jealous, you're jealous of that, and and that's really hard, because it's like, it's not jealousy, it's actually
disgusting.
It's just, I wouldn't class myself as a feminist, but actually probably am in a certain sense of, no, I'm not jealous. I just feel really strongly that actually women shouldn't have to get their boobs out just to be able to kind of prove a point about farming and likes and things like that. It's a hard balance, isn't it?
You see a lot of what people put up and you're like, but have you just gone in the lambing shed to take a photo? And it's like, come on, get real. And it I suppose it's frustrating then as females to be like, oh, well, they just do this and you get millions of likes, and you're like, I don't care if I get 10 likes or 3 or none. It's like, it's a bit annoying, but you don't really care. I
think that there's a lot of like stereotypical female farmer should be someone that doesn't go out, doesn't do anything with her hair, doesn't have nice nails, like can't be girly. Like, I do like doing those things, and I will go out with rollers in my hair if I'm going out to go feed the sheep or something. But I also don't care about getting dirty. So
if you had to have another shower before you went out, you had to. You wouldn't go, I can't because I'm not going out.
And I will be a bit touchy if I'm going out with purple spray on my nails. but I'll just put gloves on. So things like that,
There's also such a great side of social media as well, because you can, some of the forums are brilliant and you can connect with different people. But it's just that balance. And I think that's a big thing across everything, is like, if you're on it too much, it's no good for anyone.
What about you, Kerys? You mentioned Snapchat a couple of times.
Yeah, definitely agree with what Beth just said then about the nudes, as I would call it, over social media and stuff. And I just don't really see, other than a few likes or a bit of attention, like, I would be absolutely mortified if I put something up with a bikini sitting in a field with sheep and then I had to go to market in the week after. I would be mortified. Do you know what I mean? I don't see... All right, it is nice to be pretty or, have loads of makeup on and you look $1 million. But you can also look $1 million when you're stinking dirty, covered in shit.
Wearing your leggings.
Just
leggings,
the wrong image,
wellies.
isn't it?
It gives people looking in the wrong impression of farmers, and it really does. And you can have a bad farmer and somebody could see something that's dead sheep or lame sheep. Oh, look at these farmers, they don't look after their stock. And everyone's tarred with the same brush then, and they don't actually see the farmers that are trying their best or trying their hardest looking after their stock. But social media, I absolutely love Facebook Live markets. Brecon, Carmarthen, I love it. I'm on it. My uncle's like, where are you to this week? I'm like, Carmarthen this week, or Brecon this week, or...
You're just watching the price then, or are you actually looking to buy something?
Just watching the prices, I don't tend to, if we got cattle going, I don't tend to watch it for about a month before, just in case I'm depressed about it. Social media, it is a good thing. You see like prices of markets and stuff, they put up reports, but then it's a lot of, so-and-so had this or so-and-so had that, because the names and the prices are up and stuff. but it's not a competition. Everybody wants everyone to do well, or I certainly do anyway. I'd like the next person to do, as good as I would possibly be able to do, or, even better, whatever, as long as people are happy. But I do see is quite a lot of like, they've got a big tractor, I want a big tractor in agriculture. With me, I wouldn't care whether I'm walking around checking sheep, as long as my sheep are happy, healthy, and going to market and making, half-tidy prices. I wouldn't really care. But there's a lot of, I think like it's people with more, no disrespect, but it's people with more time on their hands that can put these photos up and, take the time to do their hair for a selfie and plaster it all over social media. And yeah, you do have negativity on social media as well, like Facebook, like if there's sheep down the road, it's like I'm tagged about 1 million times, your sheep are down the road, and these bloody farmers, they don't look after their sheep and stuff, and you're like, well, just take everything with a pinch of salt. It can be good and it can be bad as well.
I think that's, and recognising that I think is really important as well, that there are good and bad. We talk about it in our training, don't we, about the fact that like, you see somebody, if you're having a really shit day, things go really bad for you, and you see so-and-so who's like posting a photo of everything's great or whatever, it can be really difficult. We've had a conversation about social media a couple of times, and one person we spoke to said they only post positive things on social media, and I found that really interesting, because actually, only posting positive things, I can see why you would do it, but actually it's a really false representation, because actually the days are not, that's not what days look like, is it? And it's really hard. But it's a really tricky sort of thing to manage, isn't it? Is this kind of like, are you guys active on social media with regards to kind of like posting about your days and your farm, things like, there are a lot of people who do post a lot of things, is that something you guys do, or are you just very much like, just crack on and get on with it?
I think it's a fine balance, like you're sort of, we'll post now and again, or like nothing for like a month. Like I don't think I posted anything during lambing, because I was just like, I can't be arsed, I'm not interested. But like you said, like when the grass starts to get greener, the nights are getting lighter, you're like, oh, maybe I'll just post something. But and
I found what you said really interesting about making sure everything looked right. Like I'm really conscious that like I when I was shearing, like I said, I've only learned about, we've only had sheep in the last like 4 years, I think. So we started with one and it's escalated. But like I couldn't get anyone to shear the sheep because it's such a small flock. So I learned how to do it myself. And I was like really proud of myself that I'd done this. And I even, like I said, I took them into school and do it. But I was really conscious I didn't want any photos going up anywhere of me doing it. And if I did, they were very much like, not staged, but almost kind of like making sure it's the right one, because I was so conscious someone would be like, oh, you're doing that wrong, you're holding that wrong.
You've got
people
lines
can
on that one.
be very, very kind of hard. I've done it, and a very, very good friend of mine, will make comments to me about certain things, like, oh, you've put that ring too high on that lamb's tail and things like that. And I'm like, that's really hard for me. Like, I don't need that. So I pull myself back a little bit then. And I find that very difficult, because I feel like I want to promote farming and promote those like good things about what what we're doing. And especially for me, doing it on a small scale, working at the same time, I want to promote that. But when you've got people giving you backlash, it's bloody hard. You think, shit, I'm not doing this right, I'm not doing that right. And that's...
I think there's an element though as well, thinking about that because social media makes you so available to the general public, so it's not just necessarily your friends, it might be friends of your friends or people who don't get it, that there's that fear that if you put something there and something isn't quite right, there's something that's picked up that it reflects badly on the industry wider then as well. There's something that I thought about, that it's like, oh, well, we know that the reason that sheep is there in the corner is because she's been treated and there's but actually you haven't got the space to give that backstory. It's just
and that's exactly what you're saying, like making sure it looks like, you don't want to reflect on their industry, do you? You don't want it to look like that. So it's an interesting one, but this will be going out on social media and we will be using it in a positive way to spread those kind of messages and those things about. So I think as we're sort of coming to the end, really, I just wanted to thank you all really for your really interesting input, and I personally am really proud, because I think when I was a little girl I wouldn't have seen 3 women who are farming on a full-time basis, and for my children to see women like you doing a really successful job, I think is really important. So well done all of you really, and thank you for kind of inspiring lots of little girls around the country who want to do that as a job. The last podcast we had, the 2 little girls who were really keen on farming, and we need to see more people like yourselves out and about doing that. So well done to you guys. The final thing then really before we finish is we ask everybody about what empties your bucket. So we've all got things that we do that empty our bucket, that make us feel a bit better about things. We've been discussing various ones, and we talk about our own, so mine vary week on week. I think I've got a bit of habits of just changing things all the time. The summer's coming up now, so mine will be paddleboarding over the summer. I love a bit of paddleboarding, getting out in the sea, wild swimming and that kind of thing, the joys of living next to the beach. Kate?
Yeah, well, I'm just thinking that with the weather, one day this week I made sure after I came home from work we got a new pup, a newish pup. So we got her out. I got her out in the garden. Just had a cutch with her.
Aww.
She's kind of in that sort of snuggly, but really bonkers phase of wanting to bite it. She's destroyed my garden. So I put that to one side. That I can't have a nice garden for a little while. And I'm not going to get worried by it. It's not going to stress me out. But just having a bit of time with her and just enjoying that sort of fun of, of that like fluffy, but sweet and
Kerys, do you want to start? What empties your bucket?
Do enjoy going for a pint with the girls over the rugby club.
Yeah.
The shows now coming up. I've been asked to judge 2 shows this summer. I did one last year, and it's, as Kate would know, it's well out of my comfort zone. Like having the confidence to go out and normally it's Arlen, what do you think, or Tudor, what do you think? But it's just on me. But go for a chat with the girls, little walk. The girls they'll come up the farm, we'll go for a walk together, or the hound shows, driving around the field at night just as the sunset's going down, checking everything until you find a dead one. And just the lambs playing, cattle playing, calves playing.
Just no holidays.
No.
Don't put her on a plane. Whatever you do, don't put her on a plane.
my summer and put me on a plane.
Like I am the opposite of that. I'm like, make my summer and put me on a plane. Take me as far as you can.
Yeah, that's holidays for me, no.
Yeah, but then you get your holidays in different ways, don't you? So will we see you at the Royal Welsh this year?
Probably somewhere with a pint. Or sleeping in the caravan, sleeping it off.
We got an event happening in the Royal Welsh actually. You have to come along and say hello. We got the Tuesday night of the...
I'll be full of confidence and after a few pints I'll be with you.
You could do the singing, you could be the entertainment. We'll put you on the stage.
I'll be the entertainment.
We got one entertainment booked in, we're fine. What about yourself, Nerys?
I suppose, it's either going for a ride around the stock or just going to the local pub, catching up with mates. Like, there's a few of us that get down there. Most of us are farming, all different ages. And, like, there's nothing better because it's like that time off, that switch off that... Right, we go a Thursday night, we call it date night, they all take the mick out of us. It should be called Pudding Club, really. We go for a pudding on a Thursday night in the local.
I love the idea of a pudding club.
And literally, there's like, the youngest is Miss probably 20 and the eldest is in his 60s.
Oh, brilliant.
But it's just nice because none of you care. You've all similar backgrounds.
That's what farming is, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's an equal playing field.
The generations.
It's really made a difference. We've most probably been doing it about a year now, maybe a bit more. And there's a couple of mates are dairy farmers, but they make sure they get there. Sometimes we have got to phone them up for their food order because we're like, pub's going to shut at some point, but we got a good local and it's just that chill.
And you're keeping your local going.
Well, most probably keep it going a bit too much. But.
Brilliant. And then what about yourself, Beth? What's your bucket?
Very similar to the girls. I like going on a hack on a summer's evening when everyone's gone off the farm. It's just you and your horse. But I'm also I'm quite a lone wolf. I like my own space. So just the thought of having a glass of wine, a bath, and read my book.
Nobody else.
I've got a deck in. I've got an egg chair and just watching the sunset.
Could you live in that?
Yeah. So that's mine.
Wow,
that sounds
like you're
lovely.
living the best life.
Oh yeah.
And that time alone is really nice as well.
Yeah.
It's like I'm absolutely with you with that. Sometimes I just go lock myself in the bathroom with a glass of wine and a Kindle and read a book. That's good. No, so thank you so much. Like I said, just to reiterate, it's been amazing to listen to you all and hear about your lives and your stories and things like that. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for taking time.
Thank you.
Thank you.